Welcome, everybody, to another beautiful session of Holistic Conversations. Today, we've got a host exclusive. So, it's your host, DK. I know some of you know me as Dikolo. Yeah, and today's topic Simon Ekpa, Nnamdi Kanu, and the Biafra discourse. You see, what I'm about to say today, due to the large level of division amongst us Igbos and amongst us Nigerians, and amongst us as Africans. Due to this large division amongst us, a lot of people won't agree with what I have to say today. But I have to say what I have to say because, first of all, it's my opinion, my observation, my understanding, my view. You have a right to yours, and more people will actually agree with me than those who will disagree with me. So, for those who would agree with me, this is for you. Yes, so Simon Ekpa has been detained or arrested, we are not sure. And the internet has been going, on fire, as they say. Nigerians are shouting, is his arrest a good thing? Some people are celebrating, some people are crying. Funny enough, to express the divide amongst us, IPOB or Biafran agitators, right? Some Biafran agitators are laughing, while some other Biafran agitators are happy. Now, they say that the IPOB belongs to MNK, Nnamdi Kanu. So those ones are saying that Ekpa is not part of them, so they are happy. Then they say the autopilots, who are the fraction that left, or whatever it is, however they form themselves, who are behind Ekpa, are crying that their own leader is also in detention or incarceration. We are not sure. So that's to tell you the division. Now, how about those Igbos that are not even part of the Biafran agitation? And of course, some Biafran agitators, especially the IPOB people, the uneducated ones, and the similarly educated ones who are just merely educated fools. Because there's a concept called the educated fool. It's somebody who had the opportunity to have gone through the walls or the corridors of education, formal institutions, secondary school, primary school, university, but they said they went through education, but they did not let education go through them. They did not get the faculty of critical or logical thinking. So most times, people just go to school, they come out and answer graduate or whatever certificate holder, but they don't really have a mind of their own. Yeah, they don't really have a mind of their own. So that's why we're talking about. That's why the people call educated fools, and they are in all facets of life, all sectors of life, all institutions of life, including the IPOB, including the autopilots. They are educated fools everywhere. But the ones in IPOB are notorious for what I'm about to say now. So, first of all, if you disagree with their modus operandi, they come after you, they attack you, and all of that. Nonetheless, like I said, how about the Igbos that are not part of this agitation? The IPOB people, these educated fools, part of this sect, are very quick to say that how can you be Igbo and say you're not Biafran? Good. Meaning that for as far as you're Igbo, you're Biafran. And again, we know that they are saying that Biafra is former Eastern Nigeria. Now, former Eastern Nigeria is not just Igbos. We have the people in the current, what they call South, the very funny geographical terminology. South, Delta, Bayelsa, Cross River, Uyo, and all of that. These guys, River State and River State inclusive, they say that they are not Biafrans. But prior to when it was South, when the region was called Eastern Nigeria, they were one region. When it was changed to Biafra, by default, they were Biafrans. In fact, information has it that this whole divide into South, this and all of that is to cause a division among the so-called Biafra bloc, so that the divide and rule tactics. You see, so they try to, because the Igbos were more at the helms of affairs, and even the declaration was made by an Igbo general and all of that. they try to, turn the minds of every other non-Igbo speaking ethnic nation around the Igbos against them, so that the whole Biafra thing would be like some landlocked, even though it's not necessarily landlocked, but some kind of as as the zombie president would put it, that they are a dot in a circle. So it's very funny. The reason why we call him zombie president, we all know what a zombie president, a zombie is. A zombie is somebody who is dead that is still walking. So they say Buhari is dead, that he died somewhere in England. He was buried somewhere in the another funny geographical location, Middle East. He was buried somewhere in the Middle East. At the same time, they will still say Buhari conduct referendum. So we are wondering which Buhari are you talking to? Is it the dead one or the a zombie now? So anyway, so the first those I would say is Emiloko. At least there's no doubt that Emiloko is alive. Whether he's working with AI battery or because all the funny videos that came out during the pre-election campaign times and all of that. Let's not digress so much, but just to say, the zombie president to just reiterate who I'm referring to. We all know the man who we are wondering if he's alive and looking young today and looking old tomorrow, wearing people say is CGI. Anyways, back to the matter. Ojukwu of blessed memory is late. The Igbo problems still persist. Wazirike is almost a toothless bulldog. Not almost, actually a toothless bulldog, because I've not seen the influence. I don't even understand, So he can back, but he's toothless. MNK is incarcerated in detention. As the case may be, some people, there's no need to talk about whether it is a legal detention or illegal detention or whatever. As long as you're dealing with the kind of system you're dealing with, you cannot say a pig is getting you dirty when a pig is, the pig rolls in the mud. So if your meat splashes mud, if a pig splashes mud on you, you shouldn't be complaining. The pig does what a pig does. So the Nigerian government system is what it is. So you can't keep arguing about their modus operandi. They've got the guy, MNK, and then what's causing the issue today, what's the latest thing that's making people buzz all over the place? Simon Ekpa. And what people really buzzing all over the place? They are saying that the detention or imprisonment of Simon Ekpa will bring peace to Eastern Nigeria. Or we bring peace to Southeast Nigeria, Igbo land, to be specific. On the supposed alleged or supposed allegation that he is the one behind the insecurity in Eastern Nigeria. He is allegedly said to sponsor terrorism. Not terrorism, let me take that back. Violence. People call it, because if you want to use the word terrorism, Nigerian government said that the activities of those who are terrorizing the people, the activities of the headsmen and the bandits, activities which are terrorizing the people, doesn't make them terrorists. So maybe the word terrorist is a strong word. And like I said, Nigeria government has its own modus operandi. They can see a terrorist and say a terrorist is a bandit or a mere criminal, and see somebody who is fighting for his right to live and a right to determine, his posterity, and they say he's a terrorist. So who am I to say this is a terrorist and this isn't? But we know those that are terrorizing us as a people. By himself, is he involved in some sort of violence and all of that? As the case may be, he is the leader of what he says he leads, and he is defending what he says he defends in the ways and manner which he has been known to have come online to say and prove that he is going about it. Fine, well and good. And he tries to justify what he's doing because he says his people are being killed. What do they call that? Extrajudicial killing, and also the continuous incarceration of his supposed leader. Now, they're saying now that he has been captured in whatever manner, that peace is going to be restored to Eastern Nigeria. And that's the reason why I'm coming in to speak to you all today, to drop my perspective on this issue. Does the continuous incarceration of MNK, or the now detainment or whatever they've done with Ekpa, restore peace to Southeast? And is that the solution to the Igbo problem? My answer is no. Neither of these four men I've called, Ojukwu of blessed memory, Wazirike, MNK, Ekpa, none of these four men are the solution to Igbo problem. If not anything, they have more or less contributed to the Igbo problem in their quest to solve the Igbo problem. Now, don't get me wrong. They may, not all of them, maybe 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, as the case may be, may have actually had genuine interest to solve the Igbo problem. But because they are human beings, they have also made mistakes in their parts, right? And those mistakes that they made have also contributed to the already existing Igbo problem. You see? And I'll break it down for you. I'll break it down for you, for us as a people. The idea of Biafra was not really there before Nzogu and his crew carried out the coup d'etat in Nigeria. Now they carried out a coup, and the coup was later termed Igbo coup. Now, even though those that are from Asaba or Delta today do not regard themselves as Igbo, there is a constant argument: are Igbos in Delta? Are Igbos not in Delta State and all of that? But Nzogu, who's from Ibiza or so, I like Ibiza. He's from Delta State, current Delta State, was referred and regarded as an Igbo soldier. And because the Premier of the East, as at then, survived the coup, people are saying, why did they not, achieve theirs in the East and all of that? Okay, whatever the case may be, the coup happened. It was termed an Igbo coup. The North that lost its premier as at then were largely agitated and offended, and things were not handled as it should have been in a civil and democratic manner, and the society deteriorated into violence. And Igbos, amongst other people from Eastern Nigeria, Igbos to a very, very large extent were in many parts of northern Nigeria. We all remember the history of trucks bringing down bodies, trucks filled with bodies, even people trying to run. In fact, I have friends that escaped from the pogroms against the Igbos. I have friends that lost families to the pogroms against the Igbos in the north. So there is no conspiracy. If you don't know about it, either do not know your history, or anyways, you can go verify about the pogroms against the Igbos that led to the political instability, fear for loss of life and property, and tensions amongst the Igbo people. There needed to be a political solution to restore peace, which was not forthcoming. It was not forthcoming up until the point of the first declaration of Biafra. Because I'm saying first because I don't know if there'll be a next. But since the first, done by Ojukwu, every other person has mainly just been, anyways. Since the first declaration of Biafra, that political tension caused, now imagine, like I said, started from the coup d'etat, right? And then, the coup plotters were detained. There was a replacement, counter coup, so many things were going on, counter coup, and so many things. The political class in the society then were at war with each other. And who gets who suffers when the elephants fight? The grasses, the trees, the shrubs. And we, the people, had to suffer because the elephants were fighting the political class. They were thrown in disarray. Some of them were key members of the political class were killed. There was distrust. So that trickled down. That distrust led to civilians carrying arms against their fellow civilians and killing them in large numbers. Ojukwu declared after the Aburi Accord, and all of that were not upheld. There was a war. He declared independence of Biafra, and Nigeria sought to reclaim that territory by force. Nigeria sought to subdue the military of this newly created nation, which has declared its sovereignty. Nigeria still felt like you're cutting off from us, so we need to do all that we can to maintain the unity of the whole, which is Nigeria. And they had to use military force, which led to the genocide of loss of life of over 5 million mothers and children, excluding soldiers. After that war, which lasted 3 years, of which I lost family members, and after that war, Igbos lost their political advantage and political position in the circle of Nigeria's political class. Now, don't forget that Nnamdi Kanu has raised the agitation for Biafra on the grounds that Igbos have been politically, economically, and resourcically, if that makes it sense to you, marginalized from the development scheme or plan of Nigeria. Meaning that the development in his view, and I'm not saying he's wrong to say this, but in his observation, the development that has gone to the Western Nigeria and Northern Nigeria is not the same level of development that has come to Eastern Nigeria. And he's saying also another evidence of this is the rotation of presidency under the civilian governance, right? That they've not been an Igbo president is also a sign of this. The fact that they've not really been an Igbo president in this their new republic. How is it put? Right? They've not been an Igbo president is one of the symptoms of the marginalization. The fact that there is no seaport in the east, even though that we've got open sea that connects us to the Atlantic or whatever, that is also part of the marginalization and lack of some certain basic infrastructure. Right? Fine, but the Igbos have senators, the Igbos have governors, the Igbos have House of Rep members. So you cannot say that we are marginalized to the point that we do not have political representation at all in the Senate, in the House of Assembly, or in governorship. Fine. So we have, as Igbos, people that we can wrongfully call political leaders. And why I say wrongfully call, they are in public offices, in offices of political power, but they're not really leaders of the Igbo people. Right. Fine. So you see, we are just building up, coming from the reason why the Biafra was established to MNK agitating that let his people go because you're not treating them right. Now the system has engaged with him in the way the system has engaged with him. Yet again, we cannot sit around and complain that the system is engaging with him the way the system is engaging with him, because the system is doing exactly what it will do. Take for instance, you want to have a race with a monkey, and you go into the jungle and you set your course from this point north to that point west. The monkey is not going to run on the ground. It's going to swing from tree to tree. It's just going to be a monkey. So if a government institution that so happens to be running your country has a tenet of violence, illegal modus operandi, high-handedness, just name it, dictatorial tendencies, right? Negative dictatorial tendencies. If your government, your country's government has such characteristics and they exhibit those characteristics towards you, is it right for the people to just sit down and be crying and wailing and praying? That's the worst part. Praying that the system changes and starts treating you with justice, equity, and fairness. You have declared it's not just, you didn't just declare, you have experienced firsthand by just living your life as a citizen of Nigeria that your system of government or the government, doesn't matter the regime in power, the Nigerian government is not interested in treating its citizens with equity, equality, justice, and fairness. If that is what you're saying, right? If that is what you're saying, that this is what you've seen about the government, how can you then complain when the same government is exhibiting injustice, exhibiting inequality, exhibiting unfairness? So if we are saying as a people that despite Nnamdi Kanu's modus operandi, that his cries and pain is justified and he has been treated unfairly, so what? So what? He has been treated unfairly. What are we as a people to do that one individual has been treated unfairly amongst other individuals that are currently also being treated unfairly? What am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? Nnamdi Kanu is one Igbo man amongst many Igbo people, amongst all Igbo men. All Igbo men. Now, before I even go into this, let us divide our society into two. Because we need to understand how our society is structured. Okay? We have the political class and the people class. The political class make up the capitalists, the upper class, and the rich in the society. The people class make up the poor, the disenfranchised, and the so-called professionals, the poor people who have gone through some levels of education and have been able to acquire some educational skills which they put to use to earn a living. These two classes exist in the society. Okay, Nnamdi Kanu, as an individual agitating for what he has agitated for, is just one individual talking about the plight of majorly the people class in the Igbo nation. The people class in the Igbo nation. Why am I saying this? The marginalization, the disenfranchisement, the suffering that he says his people are going through are not experienced by the political class in the Igbo nation. It is the people class, the poor, the lower class, the people that are actually suffering. Now, is Nnamdi Kanu being treated unfairly? Yes. Are the entire people class of the Igbo nation being treated unfairly? Yes. So are we to live as in Nnamdi Kanu's unfair treatment by the system is just one in a long list of unfair treatments? That's what I'm trying to say. There's nobody who is above anybody. Okay. With all due respect to my brother, he has followers, so he's a leader of people. But that doesn't make him unequal to every other Igbo man. We are all, we are all equal, if you get what I mean. Okay. Now, we've established that all Igbos in the people class are suffering, are disenfranchised, are feeling the brunt, especially of the system. If there is marginalization of the people, it's the poor that are suffering it the most. Because the rich class, they're able to buy themselves the comfort and life, good living, wealth. They're able to buy it for themselves. that the poor cannot enjoy, and the poor would say the reason why they're not enjoying it is because the government doesn't like them as Igbos. Fine. The Igbo people class are not the only suffering people class in the entire Nigeria. How about that? That the entire Nigeria, not just the Igbo nation, is divided into the same political class and people class. You see, now we are getting into the main topic. We are getting. I hope you're beginning to understand where I'm going to. Nigeria as a country of nations, Nigeria as a country is divided into the political class and the people class. I did not call the tribe, I did not call any ethnic nation. All ethnic nations that have been put together into Nigeria, forced together, amalgamated together, name it, people say they don't agree with the Nigerian constitution, is illegal. They have been illegalized into one unit. Just call it whatever it is. This political entity called Nigeria, made up of different indigenous people, is divided into political class and people class. So all the ethnic nations in Nigeria, you will find representations in the political class. And all the ethnic nations in Nigeria, you will find representation in the people class. Remember, the poor, the disenfranchised, the marginalized, the suffering, the hungry, that's the people. Manage bank accountant, lawyer, musician, name it, the people. It doesn't matter if you have been able to find some level of individual success that gives you a mirage of living the life that this political class, rich upper class are living. You're struggling hard, too hard, to live their life. And that shouldn't even be your aim as somebody from this class. It shouldn't be to amass so much wealth or money from your talent and skill to try to live life like the capitalists. That shouldn't be, but all right. So Nnamdi Kanu is one suffering Igbo man, one Igbo man who has experienced injustice, or who is currently experiencing injustice amongst millions of suffering Igbo men and millions of suffering Igbo men who are also currently experiencing injustice. The problem of the Igbo. Are you seeing now that Nnamdi Kanu, born or unborn, does not solve the problem of the Igbo, because he is just an individual who is also suffering from the symptoms of the problems of the Igbo, and says he wants solutions, he wants an end to it. Okay, the Ekpa man that has been incarcerated recently or detained, as the case may be, what is his interest? What role does he play? What position is he in this whole scheme of things? According to him, he wants to restore Biafra. He wants to declare Biafra. He's Nnamdi Kanu's a disciple. He's this and that and all these things. And that is why he says he's doing what he's doing. Of which the people are speaking for themselves. And what we are hearing, first of all, many Igbos are not agitating for this Biafra. Many other Igbos that are agitating for the Biafra are divided amongst themselves, and some are not in support of him. Now, it means that there is a political divide, there's a Biafran political, ideological divide amongst the people. And many people do not agree with the modus operandi of Ekpa, Simon Ekpa. So in fact, some are even saying that they are now victims. His own people, some of them are saying that they are now victims of his activities. My point is, he being a free man or a man in detention does not solve the Igbo. Before he was incarcerated or detained, Igbos were suffering. The suffering of the Igbos did not start the day he was captured. And it was existing even before Ekpa was born. Are you seeing? The Igbos as a people, it's very much likely that Ekpa was born after the war. So we've already suffered the pain of the war before he was even born, right? Very much most likely that he's, was born after 1960, whatever, 1960, right? 1950s, 1967 to 1970. That was when the war lasted. So I'm just want to give a wild guess, right? That he was born after that. Okay. But the point I'm trying to make is this, that we as an Igbo nation, as an Igbo people, have been suffering. Hell, we went through the almost 3 decades of Ekumeku War. We went through colonization, slavery, before all this current political discourse that we are having today. We have been suffering as a people before Ekpa was born, before MNK was even born. So when you talk about solving the problem of the Igbo people, it is far much beyond a little group of agitators seeking to separate from Nigeria. And before the separation is even actualized, they are already telling their own people who will come into that country and who will not come into that country, and trying to even exhibit the same characteristics of the oppressive system that they are trying to separate from. That's crazy to me. So he is insignificant in the solution to the Igbo problem. So to me, I have no interest in his detention. So I'm not happy. I'm neither happy nor sad. If you get what I mean, I'm not for or against his arrest. You understand? But I'm only saying that his activities as an individual, if not anything, contributes more to the problem of the Igbo people than solve it. And we'll get to the solution. How can the Igbo people solve their problem? We'll get there. In fact, we are about to get there. Igbo people should understand that now when I say the Igbo people, remember once again the divide in the social class, in this community, in the society. The divide, because we are no longer living in a community system, we are not living in a societal system. And if you don't know what that means, I'll probably explain that shortly. Now, the Igbo people class need to understand that they have an enemy. And that enemy is the political class. And that enemy, being the political class, is made up of individuals from all ethnic nations that find themselves in the contraption called Nigeria. Igbos, Yoruba, Fulani, and all other tribes or ethnic nations alike. They are all there. So if you, as the Igbo people, seek to engage with this political class by yourself as just the Igbo people, well, you won't be able to win. Let me just put it that way. No, let me not go too much. Let's not even say it's too much. You cannot win. Why? I'll give you an example why you can't win. If you have a Yoruba president and you as Igbo people are complaining that you want to fight, it's now that it's a Yoruba person that is in power that you want to fight. Your Yoruba friends will tell you that why don't you wait for your brother to be in power to fight? Why is it when their own person is in power that you want to fight? If you say that the man is corrupt, they'll tell you, okay, when your own person go there, let him show us that he's not corrupt. If it's an Hausa man that is in power, Yoruba man complain and say Hausa is corrupt, they'll say, but when Yoruba was there, he did this, he did that. They say when Buhari was there, all the people in power, in positions of power, were Hausa men, Fulani men, this and that. Now, boy, Tinubu is in power. They've just done a swap to Yoruba men and all of that. I mean, so because these people are united, it's not just the Igbo political class that is up here. They are united. So you cannot just come as one people to fight different ethnic nations, because once you start to engage the political class, you're not engaging people from one ethnic nation. So one of the solutions, unite with who? People of other ethnic nations that belong to that people class. that belong to that lower class, that belong to the poor class, that belong to the disenfranchised class, the marginalized class, the abused class, politically abused class. We as Igbos need to unite with our brothers and sisters from other ethnic nations that belong to the same social class as we do, in order to, as a united people, engage this united political class. Don't get me wrong. The modus operandi is simple, and it doesn't matter if you make it very open. You may think that how can we unite? How can we engage them? If we are united on one idea, while the Igbos are pulling at their own here, the Yorubas are pulling at theirs, and so on. The Bini, the Sekiri, the Idoma, the TV, everybody is pulling at theirs. And guess what? The people class have the advantage of people power and people number. So once we work together as one, we'll give them a chase politically, if you get what I mean. Political engagement. I'm not propagating anything other than political engagement. Now, this is the reason why there is constant division amongst the people. If you go online on Twitter, they just promote a lot of ethnic hatred and ethnic distrust to capitalize on the already existing ethnic distrust that is rooted in the coup and the massacre, the genocide of the Igbos. Because the genocide of the Igbos, the genocide, the Biafra war, what is called the Biafra war, who do you think fought? Who do you think was fighting who? Who do you think was killing who? Do you understand me? If you say Nigerian military was killing Igbo people, right? Who are the individuals of this Nigerian military? It's not Nigerians. Let's not even call any name of any ethnic nation. It's not Nigerians. So this set of Nigerians said that they are no longer doing again. Then this set of Nigerians started killing this set of Nigerians till the point that the ground was so much soaked with blood, with their blood, and they said, all right, we go do. And then, and you think that there wouldn't be this scar of distrust? So this is the foundation of the distrust. But then they capitalize on it. Now, what is the reflection, again, the significance of the political class and the people class? Even in this so-called war, it was the elephants that were fighting. They are the ones that the political class had the quarrel, but it was the people class that they used to, fan the flames of their ego and quarrels. Now, we have come back again to find out that 60-something years down the line, not after the war, but in the entirety of the creation of Nigeria, we've had quarrels, we've had fights, we've had all these things. But most of the division that comes down to the people class is coming from the political class. If the political class did not do what they did that led to that war, the people class would not have died in their numbers, those from the southeast. If the political class were leading the nation aright, who knows, the coup probably wouldn't even have happened that led to the distrust from other regions of the country that further escalated into pogroms and massacres. Everything stems from the political class. And yet these same people class are looking up to the political class for progress, for development. We cry to them and tell them, we pray and say, let God touch the heart of governor, of president, of senator. Hey, is that bad that we are now seeking for a divine intervention to touch their hearts, to do good for the country? And for 60-something years, I don't know when anybody was born, but nothing. Let's not count, of course, the military regime period. They try to make an excuse after all, we are military regime. You don't expect progress from military regime. All right, fine. We should only expect war over discipline and flogging all of us on the street with koboko. Fine. Why you guys steal money and amass wealth? Fine. But at some point, these military men took off their uniforms, decided to wear native wears, and call themselves civilians, and they came back into power. Now, in the civilian time, what has the political class done for the people? Still nothing. It is on the basis of this nothing that every what do you call them, opposition political party campaigns on. So maybe Obasanjo is in power. Obasanjo is in power, for instance. Let's not use Obasanjo, right? PDP is in power, okay? And then PDP is not doing anything for the people. The opposition political parties that belong to this same upper class will come and be campaigning to the people about what PDP is not doing for them, that the people should vote them in to go and do it. When the people vote them into power, PDP will defect into APC. Some APC will divide among themselves, then they will just start doing the very same thing that PDP was doing. PDP will now come and start campaigning again to the people about what APC is not doing for the people. And that circle, the people keep recycling the political parties of the upper class in a constant disappointment system. Now we say there's lack of continuity. We say, there is a godfatherism. We try to give excuses. Sometimes we even say the politicians are old men. They don't know what they are doing. Business mogul. No know what they do. Really? Do you think if these old politicians do not know what they are doing, that they will be old, rich bastard billionaires? Show me one, and they're exploiting you, but they don't know what they are doing. My brother, you in the society lack the political will to develop the society, to develop the people. They lack the political. In fact, they are constantly devising and scheming different means to exploit the people, even to the extent of displacing the people from their villages. Let them shoot. Now, when you're so desperate to amass wealth for yourself, illegal wealth for yourself, that you're willing to submit your people to both local and international interests and sponsor what you will call insecurity in the society that can lead to displacement of people internally. When you're that desperate, then I lack words. It's just an anti-people government system. That's all you will run. And that's what we are seeing. That's what Nigerians are experiencing. An anti-people political system. And largely many parts of Africa as well. Now this internal displacement thing I'm talking about is in the hunger to have unlimited access and unregulated access to resources that are beneath the ground of these villagers that are losing their homes from north to any part of Nigeria. If it has not gotten to any part of Nigeria, that is what they are saying is coming. That is the kind of political tension that Nigerians are living with, especially the Igbos, whose farmers are beginning to experience violence in their farms. They can no longer farm. That means they are trying to subject the people's feeding or survival. They try to subject them to be dependent on some other people. That is definitely a systematic attack on the people. But it is not particular to Igbos alone. Therefore, the Igbos need to understand that unification of the poor class, of all the people that find themselves as Nigerians today, is the solution, is the key that opens the door to where the solution can be found. The unification of the people. Do not let politics continue to divide you. Do not let them to use religion to constantly divide you. They have the religious leaders in their pockets. The religious leaders are in bed with the political leaders, so-called political leaders. So they are not actually leaders, they are misleaders. So let's call them for what they really are. The religious misleaders are in bed with the political misleaders in Nigeria. And they work together to keep the people divided amongst each other. And they use mainstream media and all other subtle sponsorships here and there and distractions here and there to keep us as a people, the poor people, the lower class people, the working class people, constantly fighting and disagreeing with each other. When we are able to unite, which I'm happy is already happening, via dialogues across the table. Understand me, let me understand you. Speak to me, let me speak to you. Get my perspective, let me get your perspective. And once we realize that we as the people have one common enemy, what do we have to lose if we are to work together to defeat our enemy? And remember, there are rules of engagement. So when we talk about coming together and organizing, you must organize politically, not socially. Not to come around and complain and quarrel and just shout in history what you know about what the government has done, and somebody who projects a future about what the government will not do and what they will do. You organize politically and form a people-based political unit with a proper ideology and clear intention, which should be nothing more than securing the progress and positive posterity of the Igbo nation and every other nation that currently finds themselves in the political contraption called Nigeria. And this freedom and unification is also the responsibility of every people class African. If you're African and belong to the people class, unite. Because we, the people, have one common enemy, the upper class, the political class. We need to unite and engage them as a people in order to establish a people-based government system. I think I'm going to run a series on the people-based government system so that people can really get to understand what is this people-based government system. But I'm just going to give you a tip to understand what it is. And I'm going to use that using one of the political practices of the Igbo people pre-colonial times. Now, there is a famous saying that Igbo Enwereze. Igbo Enwereze doesn't mean that the Igbos did not have leaders or figureheads that served as what you would want to call kings, but Eze, Igwe, or any kind of. We had political heads, in our traditional life or community setup, political community setup. Nonetheless, our leaders were not in the position to dictate over the people what to do, where to go, and all of that, but to represent the entire will that has been agreed upon by a consensus of all the people. How do all the people make sure that they are represented in governance and political decisions in their community? By having a member of their family designated to the circle. Now, let us say we need to have senators. The same thing, they try to make sure that a constituency is represented, a senatorial zone is represented, and all the local government is represented by a chairman. All those things, these are what we are talking about, right? But these people copied this thing to create a government system that dictates to the people what it wants to do and what they should do. That is why they come with their political campaigns and political manifestos, not asking us. They study us and say this is their problem. In fact, we've even given them this problem. So let us now tell them what to solve it. What I'm saying is a system of government where the people have a means of agreeing on what they want for themselves and putting that responsibility with access to governance on the project manager called a public servant in the position of governor, senator, minister, anything, to execute that particular plan, that particular project for their benefit. So we are talking about a system of governance that there is genuine accountability and people access to governance via the tiers of government that is going to characterize this system. Nothing new, not rocket science, but this time around is governance and government not run by your so-called political players, but governance and government run by the people, whereby every single family in the society or the community, as it would be, every single family is politically active, not just when it comes to voting, but when it comes to daily living. That there is a member of every family that is politically representing the will of that family. And when families come together in their community, that community can come together at a larger circle, and the representation keeps going. And so also does the circle of, what's it called, accountability. So if I send my brother to go and say yes, and he goes to say no, she didn't go come back house. It's when, if my brother can bribe me, so why can't other person's brother bribe him? So when we are really, really, really serious to build a nation, when we are really fed up of our suffering, then let us let our suffering unite us. And let's stop reacting emotionally to certain individuals. Let's stop this followership syndrome, servant syndrome, sheep. Christianity has turned everybody into sheep, looking for a shepherd. Ekpa has been arrested. Some Biafrans are running up and down, crying, screaming. Ekpa is arrested. Some are now using that as an example, as a reason to insult their fellow brother and say, your Ekpa has been arrested. Yeah? It's just like when they arrested Jesus, the so-called Jesus in the story. Respect to all my brothers who are still finding themselves in the, Roman religious imperial system. But when they said the guy was arrested, people jeered at his followers, jeered at his followers according to the story, to the point that these guys had to even hide themselves up in a tower until fire came and landed on their head, and they had morale again. You see? But in all those things, both those that are laughing at them and those that fire came upon their head, how has it solved our problem today? We are all still suffering. So that fire and those people laughing, day or day. What we know is we, the people, have realized that we are in the suffering class of the society. And we have deemed ourselves intelligent enough to solve our problem vis-a-vis solving our suffering, bringing a lasting solution to that suffering. We believe that we have that capacity within us to solve it. Therefore, we have to wield that capacity within us. And it starts with unification, dialogue, understanding. And in all these things, the oldest request of mankind and the oldest request of humanity, love. Let's let love lead in the quest for unification. Let's let love lead, but don't let emotion lead, because it's on people's emotions. If Ekpa is wrong about, if Ekpa is, in fact, if Ekpa is a criminal, as some Biafrans call him, that the only reason why he is successful to the way he is right now is because of people's emotion and people being only reactionaries. If he is even right, the reason why he's able to get some people to work with him is still because of their emotion, not because they truly understand what they need to do for themselves as a people. Same thing with MNK. If Nnamdi Kanu is wrong, the reason why he has gotten people to follow him is because of their being emotional reactors and not thinkers. They're not being free thinkers. If he is also right, the reason why he has people following him is not because they have seen the problem he is fighting for. It's because they are saying he opened their eyes. Therefore, they are also reactionaries. Because If Nnamdi Kanu was not born, are you trying to tell me that the eyes of at least 90% of his followers won't have been opened today? Well, wahala day, if that is the situation, that you needed him to remind you of yourself before you know yourself. That's bad. But if that is the role he has come to play, then let that be the role he has come to play. Don't let him be your prophet and your messiah at the same time. Eh? They go say anything Nnamdi Kanu talk for 1950. He don't come to pass. Oh yeah, now him be prophet. Fine. Let's move on to, and don't even wait for Messiah. That's even the problem. Don't wait for a single individual to come and save you. Save yourself. And you can't save yourself by fighting alone. You have to fight with your brother who is in the same danger as you. Therefore, my dear Igbo brothers and sisters, fight alongside your fellow Nigerians that belong to your political class and are in the same danger and suffering as you. You may have suffered your own unique suffering. You may have your own unique pains and cries. But that doesn't mean that you should create a society or a system of governance to establish and live in isolation. No. The unification of all of Africa is the ultimate goal. And that starts from everywhere that we come from. As Igbo, that starts with us and our neighbors. The way our ancestors intermarried, interfarmed, and intercelebrated their cultural practices and spiritual practices, let's keep up that legacy. Until next time, is your host, DK, and thanks for joining Holistic Conversations. Let me see your take in the comment section. Keep it respectful, please. Keep it respectful, but let's hear what you've got to say in the comment section. Very soon, Holistic Conversations will be hosting live sessions where you can join us live to interact in real time. And look out for our next guest session. This is just host exclusive, but we have a very interesting guest coming up next. I'm sure that one is going to blow up the space of tradition and spirituality and Christianity. But yes, thanks for tuning in. Do share, like, support your brother. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've also got a Spotify channel, same Holistic Conversation. So if Spotify is convenient for you, do watch on Spotify. Subscribe, share, like. Peace out. Thank you.